Yeah, we're in the part two here of our interview series now. We're going to talk to Abel today. It's continuing with our series of talking to former Rams players. Abel's got a unique story, and I thought it was important that we share this story. Probably, the most courageous young man I've ever come across. It was just an absolute pleasure having him for 4 years, and we're going to touch base on some of his accomplishments at Laurier, academic, athletic, and his experiences within them. We'll quickly, Abel, 4 years at Laurier, 4-year member of the basketball program. Grade 10 was Sportsmanship and Leadership Award, also was a team captain. Played junior football in grade 10, was our Jack Youngblood Award winner, which it talks about, academics, athletics, commitment, perseverance. We kind of tie everything into one award there. And in grade 12, he was our Sportsmanship Award winner for senior basketball, and it really was our inspirational team leader. So we're going to quickly talk to Abel about that. I'm just having trouble with my technology here. Abel, quickly, where are you at right now? What's going on in your life?
Sorry, there's just some technical things going on right now. It's a little glitchy, but can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Right now I'm at Western, currently second year in the business program with aspirations of potentially majoring consumer behavior. So,
Nice,
yeah.
nice. That's awesome, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So you obviously came to Laurier. I think we talked about it. It was because of the immersion program, correct?
Right. So I was at a full French school, and basically there was no sports. There wasn't a lot of like extracurriculars. So I was kind of looking around for schools, preferably with French, so that I can continue that. And
Mm-hmm.
Laurier was the one that was like in my area in terms of busing. Um, and yeah.
And you say no sports. So did you play club ball coming into Laurier?
Yeah, I played one season of gold medal,
Mm-hmm.
and then I had gone to Laurier for grade 9.
Okay. Talk about grade 9. Your first few days at Laurier, your thoughts on the school,
Yeah.
and then we can get into your junior basketball time.
Okay, yeah. So when I came to Laurier, it was the second term of the first semester. So I kind of just jumped into like my classes. Like everyone had kind of knew each other already. I missed a little bit of like the beginning, but it was good. Like when I came, I already had known like Eldon, Mo, Venroy, like just from the YMCA, and like we had like I was in a group chat with them or whatever. Um, so it was nice. I didn't really go as the new guy. I already knew a bunch of people, and not to mention I came with Ruben, right? So
Right.
it was,
Well, that makes life a lot easier heading into grade 9 anyway, right?
yeah, it
Yeah.
was a good transition.
Good. Junior basketball. Let's talk about your experiences with the junior program. We talked about it, captain in grade 10, sportsmanship award. I believe
Yeah,
that was that the year you guys won the city finals and WASA finals? Oh no, grade 10 would
correct.
have been. Grade 9 would have been the city
Oh,
finals. That's when Alden hit that three to win the game,
right,
right? Yeah. Okay. Well,
right.
let's just quickly touch about your junior basketball experiences at Laurier.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, junior basketball was really good. When I came, I didn't really expect it to be kind of like the basketball program was serious at Laurier. Like when I got there, like from coaches to players, like everyone played like they had something to improve, right? Just because we knew Beal was just around the corner, like always, like that's just what everyone talked about. So like even just heading into junior, like the culture, like the Laurier culture was just like hard work, like like just you have to like do whatever you can to get better each day. Um, and the my first like grade 9, I got it. I played like once in a while. Obviously we had like a pretty competitive team. Um, I got into the rotation a bit, but like we had obviously Alden, Taylor, like a bunch of guys who just
Mhm.
athletes all around. But luckily for us, like they were good. Like they were pretty good mentors. Took us under their wing, like made it comfortable. It was never too much pressure. Just like a good experience.
Yeah, and again, that was the year Alden hit that game-winning three at the buzzer at Beal to win the city finals, and
Yeah,
and
like that
and
that
be able.
yeah,
Go
like
ahead.
that was probably one of like my craziest experiences in basketball. Just like, like such a big game and like
Hmm.
what are the odds, like such a big shot against such a good team. It was just really like nothing more you could have asked for. So that was like a big highlight for my junior season.
And then after junior, we went into the following year. You decided you're going to try out for junior football,
Right.
which for me was a big boost. I got to know you as a person leading into senior basketball, and get to work with you a little bit on the football field. And I mean, you started majority of the year, if not the entire year,
Hmm.
and became one of the favorite targets for Nate to throw to, which is, tough for a grade 10 to come in and build that trust with the quarterback. Talk quickly about your junior football experiences, highlights, lows, maybe if you want. I know if we were talking to Ben Roy right now, he'd just tell you how cold it was. Maybe talk a little bit about your football experience.
Yeah, like football for me, I mean, it was like it's crazy because it was just a sport that I always kind of like to watch, like to play around, but like I didn't even know the rules fully, like 100%. Like I knew the basics, but like when it came to plays and all that, like it was all so like new to me. But
Mm-hmm.
luckily, like Jacob Murray, Nate, like those guys, like obviously really talented players and like like good guys, kind of just helped me mesh with the team, and it's a whole different vibe, like because with football it's like so much of a bigger roster, so many guys from different backgrounds, like you just learn how to kind of you just have to learn like you learn like teamwork is just a crazier emphasis on it.
Mm-hmm.
So when I came in, I kind of just came in saying like, yo, I'm just an athlete, I can run, I think I can catch, I have some height. I was like, let's see what I can do, right? And like even with you, like just I remember like we went to Laurier, like to the football field, even like on like not even school days, just to throw around, run routes, like, just catch. Like those kind of moments kind of just like kind of boosted my confidence, like gave me this kind of confidence to try new things and maybe like, be successful in a new field. Um, I really liked playing just because uh, I feel like our grade tenure, it wasn't a lot of guys weren't as experienced too, so that was a good
Mm-hmm.
thing. It wasn't like me just hopping in by myself. Like there was a whole bunch of guys that have never really played, and a lot of people did really well. Um, but yeah, like Nate and Jacob like made it really good for us, the new guys. So that was good, and obviously the coaching staff was amazing. Like even the senior team, how close seniors and juniors were, was really helpful. You know, um, yeah.
Well, and having a guy like Nate there too obviously makes things a lot easier as a quarterback and the leader of the team.
Yeah.
Very unselfish individual. Um, we talk about perseverance when we talk about Abel. I think anybody would put those words associated with you. And I remember your first touchdown. It was at Laurier. It was on a wheel route. But I think the play before that or two plays before that, we ran the exact same thing, and you dropped the ball. And rather than letting you stew on it, we just came back to it, and you know, your character showed up there, and obviously caught the ball. And I think that was a big experience for you. And
That was a big experience for me because I was kind of like after I dropped the ball, like I don't know, I was like, yo, like, is this even for me? Like this sport, like, what am I doing? Like, it just all got to my head, right? Like, even like kids tell me like, oh, what do you know about football? Why are you playing football? Like, what are you doing? So I was like, and in that moment, I was like, oh my god, whatever. And then I remember like when Nate told me we're running that play again, I was like, okay, like these guys trust me. Like my coach knows what he's doing. Like he put me in this position for a reason. So I'm like, okay, let's just do it. Like, no holding back. So and then obviously, like when I scored, I was like, okay, so coach knew what he was doing, and he put me in this situation. So I was just like really thankful for that.
uh, the season didn't end the way we wanted, but I mean, very few seasons actually end the way we wanted.
Right.
I know you talk football a lot, and then you went into grade 10 basketball, and that was the year you were a team captain. That was also the year that you guys won WASA, won city finals. You really dominated that entire year in terms of basketball, which was fantastic. Being
Mhm.
a team captain and being awarded the sportsmanship must have been a big moment for you as well.
Yeah, like that was a huge moment. Like grade 10, you know, going out, like it was a different role for me, right? Because when I was in my grade 10, had that, I was captain or whatever, like I had kind of a leadership role at this point where I had like a not only like a responsibility to perform, but a responsibility to like help my teammates, like encourage them, push them. Like not everybody has good days. Like everybody, sometimes people, they have a rough day at school, something happens or whatever. Kind of just help them ignore the distractions and just kind of just focus on our goals. So
How important was that leadership in terms of? I know we brought Ruben up halfway through the year to play senior basketball, and I
mhm,
know there was tension within the junior team about that.
mhm.
How important was that leadership at that time?
Um, it was really important. Like me and Eldon both like co-captains. Like we both kind of just had to tell the team like, this is what it is. Ruben isn't with us anymore. That doesn't change the fact that we're still the best team. Um, it doesn't change the fact that we're still gonna work harder than everyone else. So like we just told we just told these guys like, listen, obviously Ruben's great player, would be amazing to have him, but let's just be happy for him. 'Cause, he's going to senior, he's still at our school, still, going hard every night. So I just basically like like right, I remember like at Oak Ridge when we were in the locker
Hmm.
room, there was definitely tension. Like people were like, "Yo, how is the guy just gonna bail on us?" Like, like what? And maybe it came from a place also like, "Oh, is Ruben even like that much better than us? Why is Dave taking him to senior? Why not, somebody else?" Um, but obviously Ruben was on a different level. He was meant for that for senior. Um, so it was different. Like we just had to really motivate the guys, still have fun, 100%. We just had to have fun and also work hard in the process. So it's good.
Yeah, and from an outside looking into that junior basketball program, you talk about the Oak Ridge game, and I remember you guys were only up a couple going into halftime, and you could see it in the faces as the players walked by us, just how dejected they were, and um, whether they were battling mentally with the fact that Ruben had gone up to senior, and obviously you and Eldon, you talk about Eldon, did a fantastic job at keeping everything in line.
Mhm.
And I think from that point, because that ended up being a close game, closer than it should have been. But from that point on, you guys just kind of went into a second gear and just dominated the rest of the season.
Yeah, like I mean, yeah, that Oak Ridge game really kind of just it was it was just like we just had to persevere. It was a bump in the road. Like obviously we didn't perform as well. I think it had to do a lot with, yeah, the tension with Ruben leaving and also just, like just having that kind of distraction. A lot of players either they could have been, I think, felt more pressure. It was more of a responsibility on us, like on everybody else, because we're losing a huge part of our team, right, with Ruben gone. So I think I think after we won that game and seeing the score, how close it was, and how it shouldn't have been that close, we were like, okay, we have to regroup. We have to kind of get back to what we're capable of, and just keep getting better.
Yeah, and obviously the season ended well for you, and it ended well for us. I think the decision, it ended up working out for both programs in the long run.
100%. Yeah.
Um, Now, I want to get into obviously going into grade 11.
Hmm.
You went through a very traumatic experience, and I remember um, I can't remember who told me, but it was one of the players told me what what was happening in terms of your medical situation, and for me it was devastating. I remember calling Bill right away and talking to Bill about it, and I could hear Bill kind of choking up about it as well. I think from a school, from a sports, just from a life standpoint, I mean that kind of hit us all very hard. Um, Talk quickly about what happened, you know, maybe what brought it on, and we will follow up with that.
Yeah, for sure. So grade 10, basically like from the beginning, I kind of was just experiencing like super weird sensations, like tingly feelings in my face. I remember going to school just telling Benray like, yo, I feel so weird. Like I have like I don't know if it's a headache. I don't know what's going on, but my face is like super tingly and like it feels like numb, like numb. And I was experiencing a whole bunch of weakness in the left side of my body. So at first I went to the doctor and they had suspected it was a migraine, but it didn't really make sense because I've had a migraine before and this did not feel anything like it. So after going to the doctors again, we went to Emerge this time and they were like, did an MRI, and they seen that there was a cavernoma right above my spine, kind of closer to the brainstem, and basically it's just like a abnormal blood vessel. It's like a normal clutter of just blood vessels, right? And basically it had bled and kind of just started irritating my spine, which had a lot to do with the weakness that was going on the left side. Um, so once they noticed that, they told me either I could kind of just ignore it, but then the risk of ignoring it would just be like if it would bleed again, if the weakness would like just keep coming or get worse, or I could have a surgery. And I was kind of like, at that point, when I thought about surgery, I didn't think it was a big deal. I thought everyone got surgeries. Like I was like, everybody just gets surgery. Like it's like in my head, I was like, oh, it's not like an ACL. Like it's not anything, like anything that'll stop me forever, right?
Hmm.
So when they had told me it was like a serious like neurological surgery where I could have like possibility of not regaining strength, losing more strength, like losing like motor function in like certain like joints in the left side of my body, I was super like freaked out. And like, yeah.
And they told you, obviously they predicted you'd never play sports again,
Yeah.
uh, and possibly never even walk the same again. Tell us, when that was brought to your attention, how'd you feel? Like, what was going through your mind at that time?
uh,
Being obviously an elite athlete and that being a big part of your life.
yeah, like to be honest, it was just super depressing. Like it was just hard. Yeah.
And so I mean, you get a diagnosis like that. That's devastating. What did you tell yourself, Abel? I mean, obviously, we're gonna go into where you are now, but what did you tell yourself at the time, and how did you overcome that?
I just kind of told myself like, yo, like I have to be lucky, like I have to be thankful. Like it's just a lot of people go through worse. So I
Hmm.
think, and moments like this just build character, right? Like at the time I was just like, yo, you know I have a different purpose. Like just have to find out what it is. So it was hard. Like it was very hard. Obviously, everybody has dreams. Play college, do whatever. Um, when once that kind of just taken from you, like just like that, it's just like, whoa, okay. Now I need to really evaluate like what my plan is, what I want to do, how I'm gonna get there, and like I think it was very like monumental for me. Like I just now it's just you take things for granted. So it's just like a good reminder,
Hmm.
humbling.
And that would have made grade 11 pretty tough on you. I know the first time we seen you back at the school since everything happened, I mean, you didn't look the same. It wasn't the same Abel. And that was crushing to see. It really was. Because, I mean, my experiences with you in grade 10 football, um, always happy, always smiling, very athletic, very personable kid, somebody everybody loved. And to see that situation, that was tough for us. That was very tough for us. And grade 11, I think, that was the year we talked about. Mo brought it up. We struggled with leadership that year, on court leadership. And I think guys were going through some stuff, just with everything going on with you. Um, but when I mentioned you at the beginning of the interview, I said probably the toughest kid I've ever met in my life. Um, I could say most kids might have shut down in that situation, but seeing you try out for basketball in grade 12, seeing you back on the court with running, shooting, hanging out with the guys, being with the guys, being part of the team. Um, Again, very emotional. I know Bill and I talked about it quite a bit at the beginning of grade 12, and how thankful we were to have you back. And I remember the first game that we got you back on. It just goes to show you what kind of person you are. There was tears on the bench, not just from a coach's standpoint, but from a player standpoint. Just seeing you back to where you belong, where you love to be, and um, obviously a great moment for us. But we're very proud of what you've been able to accomplish. Um, talk about that grade 12 year. I mean, um, highlights, lows. What it meant for you to be back with the team. I know you were kind of hanging out with the team in grade 11 a little bit, but it's not the same as being back on the court with the team.
grade 12 was like a crazy experience, like going from, like I'm never gonna play again to like, whoa, I'm back. Like obviously not even close to like what I was or like what I should have been, but just like to be able to be on the court was just a plus for me. Like obviously I still had a bunch of weakness, like my athleticism suffered a lot, just like my quickness, my agility, my strength, everything was just kind of, it declined so much. But just to be on the court was just fun to like, just do what I could, just leave it all out there. Like it was a really good experience, and not to mention like just being back with my boys. Like these are like my friends off the court too. So
We got a few pictures here of Abel back in grade 12. Obviously, it was big for us, and I love this picture. It's one of my favorite all-time pictures. I think that's Cole. 6'4" Cole
that's
hiding behind you
all
guys,
good.
and that
It's
was
all
Alden. That's
yeah.
Alden. Okay, never mind. 6'5" Alden hiding behind you guys. Talk about your season and grade 12, finishing up obviously your high school career, and some highlights from that season.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Like grade 12 was amazing, arguably my favorite season. Just I think that with the tournaments and like just the experience of being back with the team, it was just really fun. Like I know that like just that picture alone, that Niagara trip was amazing. Like I talk about this to this day with my friends. Like I can't like it was just a fun experience. I know we kind of pissed off the coaching staff on that trip, but it was still good. Like just because the feeling of like a overnight tournament is just such a different dynamic than like just going to, because you're literally going to play sport you love with your boys, kick back to the hotel, you're with these guys like the whole time, right?
Hmm.
So it's just like you're constantly talking about playing, like what we should do, like how we should go about playing, like everything's just basketball and just fun, like positive good stuff. Like um just even walking around the streets in Niagara Falls, just talking about life, talking about basketball, like where we are. It was good. I think that was a big highlight. I liked going to I liked the tournament that we had. um the Southwest game was a good experience too, seeing Ruben again. um Seeing Mateus even come on and play against Ruben was crazy to me. Like I never thought I'd see that. Like it was
Well, he
just
hit and he hit two threes on Ruben that game too. I remember the
yeah.
crowd going crazy over
Yeah, Ruben got a taste of his own medicine that game for sure.
that.
But yeah, like that was really good. I just like competing with these guys, to be honest. Like even with practices, just everything was just, I just wouldn't change anything, to be honest.
Nice. Well, Laurier in general, I know Mo touched on the fact that he didn't really want to go to Laurier initially. Your thoughts and maybe some last comments on your time at Laurier, um, and maybe
Yeah, for sure.
basketball and
So,
education combined.
for sure. So like, to be honest, I wanted to go to Beal too. Me and Ruben we both wanted to go to Beal, right? That was just like the school you think about when you think basketball. But number one, it didn't have the French program. Number two, it was the location wasn't good. Um, I started looking at Laurier and I started asking around, like asking, like whenever I used to see Eldon at the YMCA, and like he'd be like, "Yo, what are you doing? Like you need to come to Laurier. Like this is not even up for debate. Like it's the best option for you." And I would talk to him and I'm like, "Oh, I'm like, like, what do you think about it?" He's like, "Yo, like, it's a great school, good culture." Like, my brother's in grade 10 now, and he said that he liked it. And I was like, okay. So I started going to like Compass trainings, like the practices, and
Hmm.
then that's where I met Mohammed, and we became friends. And like, he told me, yeah, like Laurier is a good school. And obviously, I knew Alpha was already there, and I had a couple other kids from my elementary school that went there, so it was a good decision. It was the best decision I've ever made. So.
I mean, obviously, we're happy with it. You can't say that enough. Abel, listen, I want to thank you again for your time. Um, we really appreciate it. And you know you have a standing invitation anytime you want to attend a Laurier practice. Obviously not this year with the season being canceled, but um, as a coach, anytime you want, you know, we really appreciate everything, man.
All right. Thank you.
No problem.